At the point of recording this video, a few years have passed since the release of the book Psychic Witch by Mat Auryn. The book has been received with high praise and much fanfare, and embraced by many in the broader esoteric and occult community. This includes people who may not even identify with the moniker witch. It has also been reviewed by prominent influencers and subject matter experts. So, does this book deserve or necessitate yet another review? Especially considering that the author has released a more recent entry, Mastering Magic, as a follow-up to Psychic Witch? Well, I think that the answer is yes, and if you clicked on the link as well, perhaps you're in agreement. My name is Wayne, I'm the creator of the Global Fusion Intuitive Tarot. I'm an artist and mystic on the path, and today I'll be sharing my perspective on this popular contemporary book. So get comfy, imbibe your beverage of choice, keep a watchful eye out for the Inquisition, and let's go. Mystics endeavor to be walking question marks, and it is this penchant for curiosity that brought me to this book. I look for correspondences and similarities in the world around me, because I believe that there is more that unifies us than is divisive. This is especially important in the realm of metaphysics, because there is no universally agreed on terminology to define the ideas therein, and many concepts are abstract and exist beyond the confines and limitations of language. Even umbrella terms like mysticism and magic will take on completely different meanings depending on who you ask. Nevertheless, I believe it is extremely important for the individual to define for themselves what some of these general terms like mysticism and magic mean. The book Psychic Witch, in my opinion, appeals to elements of both, but before we go further, I think it's important to define these terms, magic and mysticism, because these words have come to mean different things to different people, so for clarity's sake, these are the definitions that I'm working with during the course of this video. Mysticism, the experience of a mystical union or direct communion with ultimate reality as reported by mystics. The belief that direct knowledge of God, spiritual truth, or ultimate reality can be attained through subjective experience, such as intuition or insight. Magic, the art of producing a desired effect or result through the use of incantation or various other techniques that presumably assure human control of supernatural agencies or the forces of nature. Please note that these are not exhaustive, all-encompassing definitions for either, just to provide us with a little bit of structure to work with. I must also state that these paths tend to not exist in isolation from each other, and oftentimes you'll find adherents of either approach actually incorporating elements of both. Psychic Witch is an easy-to-read book with a relaxed and very relatable tone. One of the first things that struck me was just how much most of the information in the book parallels what I was already doing as a mystic. Terminology and symbolism being the major differentiator. For example, the author gives the illustration of the world tree and the illustration of the three cauldrons, which is a very witch-esque type of symbolism, and quite clearly he describes how each of the cauldron functions. It should be immediately accessible to someone with a background in other metaphysical disciplines to see parallels. Visualization is such an integral component to both mysticism and magic, and another thing that I love is the variety of examples provided in the book of exercises on the subjects discussed. There's a good deal of information and a lot of metaphysical topics in the book, and even if you're already familiar with these concepts, it might be helpful to hear, or read about it rather, from a different perspective. After all, someone else's experience might actually shine a light on something and clarify something you've been misapprehending or unable to grasp. Here's a quick overview of what you can expect to find in the Psychic Witch. First of all, I recommend reading the book in its entirety. The introductory accolades, foreword, and dedication help to paint a picture of who the author, Mat Auryn, is and the vibe you can expect from this book. The introduction gives you a nice primer on what magic means to the author. Basic terms and concepts all consolidated neatly and systematically. Chapter 1 deals with the power and the sight, where the author discusses psychic ability. One thing that jumps out for me here is that he states that people often use the term intuition as a synonym for psychic, and he distinguishes between the two, his rationale being that intuition is unconsciously processing sensory information in your environment to come to a particular conclusion. The book is also filled with tons of exercises or experiments that you can try for yourself, so it's not all just theory and philosophy, and it also has a few illustrations, which is great for people that love visuals. Overall, I would say that this is a great book and a great reference resource to have. It's a good entry point for a beginner, but also a good source of information if you're coming to it from a different school of thought or practice other than witchcraft. But you can appreciate how another person might go about experiencing all things metaphysical. I certainly found it worthwhile in that regard. So, that about covers it for now. Thank you for your time. Links to everything are in the description. All the best for your day. Peace and blessings.